up, you can come with this car. So hold on, shit, I got a train. If I see a thing, you want the pain. I'm going to gun it, call the bank, I'm ready, my shit, I'm so like Jack, bitch. Don't get took off the list. I see how I'm going to come to clear things again.
You shot to kill me. That's the line people kept repeating online after the footage dropped. Not because someone actually got shot that night, but because the energy felt like it could have gone there. January 28th, Manhattan. 2 degrees outside. The kind of cold that burns your lungs when you breathe. Bayswag had just shut down the Gramercy Theater for his tour finale. The building was packed. Cash Cobain was there. Woolface Joey pulled up. A Boogie showed face. Members of 41 were in the mix. Inside, it looked like unity. Different boroughs, different sounds, same stage. But once the crowd spilled into the street, everything changed. Police lights started flashing. A crowd formed fast. You could hear shouting over the wind. A BMW lurched forward through the chaos like it was trying to escape the block. People were pushing. Someone yelled to clear the street before everybody caught a charge. Officers formed a barrier between two sides that clearly weren't just arguing. They were seconds away from something worse. And here's the part that had fans confused. These weren't random crews. These were camps connected to artists who just collaborated months earlier. They made a record together, smiled in the same studio, promoted the same track. Now their people were face to face in the freezing street like enemies. No official statements, no explanations, just viral clips spreading across X and Instagram within hours. Some said it was all talk, others warned this was how real problems start. So the question isn't just what happened outside Gramercy. The real question is, how did a collaboration turn into confrontation this fast? Before you understand the fight, you have to understand the status. A Boogie wit da Hoodie isn't just another rapper in the mix. He's one of the biggest artists to come out of the Bronx in the last decade. Born artist Julius Dubose in Highbridge, he built his career from melodic street records into platinum plaques. His 2018 album Hoodie SEN debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and moved over 90,000 units in its first week. Drowning went multi-platinum. Look Back at It became a radio staple. He wasn't just buzzing, he was charting. By 2023, the Bronx even named a street after him, artist A Boogie Dubose Drive. That's hometown royalty status. When you reach that level, you don't move like a rookie anymore. You move with security, you move with a crew. And most importantly, your name carries weight on any block in New York. But here's the tension. Even with mainstream success, A Boogie has always kept one foot in the streets. His Highbridge camp has a reputation for being protective and quick to respond to disrespect. There were reports of altercations in Tokyo in late 2025 involving people around him. In previous situations, he was seen observing while his affiliates handled business. That pattern matters, because when you're a star at that level, your crew moves like an extension of you. So when footage showed Highbridge members clashing outside Gramercy Theater, fans weren't shocked that his people were involved. They were shocked that it happened in front of cameras, police, and an entire city watching. And that leads to the bigger issue. When you're a Bronx heavyweight with platinum history and borough pride behind you, you don't just walk away from tension easily, especially when another borough is standing across the street. Now flip the borough. Kyle Richh isn't coming from the same era as A Boogie. He represents something newer, louder, faster, more viral. Born in Brownsville, Brooklyn in 2003, he came up in the middle of the drill wave, a scene built on intensity, loyalty, and public rivalry. At just 17, he started recording during the pandemic. By 2022, his group 41 was already making noise. Their On the Radar cypher pulled in millions of views. Then came Naughty Bop, a controversial track that went viral on TikTok and sparked massive backlash. The criticism didn't slow them down, it amplified them. That's the difference. Where A Boogie built his brand through melodic hits and radio presence, Kyle Richh built his through viral moments and drill culture momentum. Tracks like Bent crossed 100 million streams. Collaborations with French Montana, Fivio Foreign, and even Megan Thee Stallion put him on bigger stages. By 2024, he was nominated for Best New Artist. But drill culture comes with baggage. Brooklyn drill is deeply tied to affiliations, crews, alliances, rivalries that stretch back years. Even when artists collaborate, the people around them may not forget old tensions. And in that world, loyalty isn't optional. It's expected. Kyle Richh has had multiple public rap rivalries, from DOA ties to social media exchanges with other borough artists. Nothing officially linked to A Boogie personally, but in New York, proximity matters. Who you stand next to matters. Who you align with matters. And here's the key point. Kyle Richh is 23, a Boogie is 30. That 7-year gap might not seem huge, but in hip-hop generations, it's massive. One came up in the streaming era, the other in the TikTok era. One built longevity, the other built momentum. So when Brooklyn drill energy collided with Bronx establishment presence outside Gramercy Theater, it wasn't just a random scuffle. It felt like two eras staring each other down. Here's the part that makes the whole situation feel unreal. These two camps were just in the studio together. In June 2025, a Boogie linked up with Kyle Richh, Jen Carter, and Tata from 41 for a track called Naked. It wasn't a diss record, it wasn't aggressive drill, it was melodic, smooth. A Bronx meets Brooklyn collaboration that felt like growth for the city. Fans actually celebrated it. The song blended a Boogie's emotional delivery with 41's modern energy. The video dropped a few months later. Streams climbed into the millions. There were no public shots, no subliminal posts, no tension visible from the outside. So what flipped? That's the mystery. There were no diss tracks exchanged, no obvious online back and forth. Neither side has addressed the incident publicly. But in New York rap, collaboration doesn't always erase underlying affiliations. One theory floating online points to overlapping loyalties. Some fans speculated that certain crew alignments may have created tension behind the scenes. Others mentioned prior subtle rivalries involving affiliates, not the artists themselves. And that's important. This didn't look like a Boogie personally stepping to Kyle Richh. It looked like crew-on-crew energy, people around them reacting to something that might have happened off camera. In rap culture, especially drill culture, ego and respect travel fast. A look can mean something. A comment backstage can mean something. Even who stands next to who can spark a reaction. The performance inside the venue was reportedly smooth, but once everyone hit the street, something shifted, which suggests this wasn't about the music. It was about presence, territory, pride, and once that switch flips in New York, it rarely cools down quickly. The internet didn't hear about this fight. It watched it. January 28th, 2 degrees outside, Gramercy Theater emptying out after Bay Swag's tour finale. Within minutes, phones were up, lights were flashing, and bodies were moving in every direction. The clip that went viral shows pushing, shoving, a crowd forming around parked cars, police trying to form a barrier. On an older BMW weaving through the chaos while someone yells for people to clear the block. It looks dramatic. It sounds intense. But here's what stood out. There were no visible weapons, no confirmed injuries, no arrests reported. It was mostly posturing and minor contact. A lot of yelling, a lot of movement, not a lot of actual damage. That didn't stop it from spreading. Within hours, pages like No Jumper and other hip-hop platforms reposted the clip. On X, one upload crossed over 50,000 views almost instantly. Instagram blogs picked it up, YouTube Shorts chopped it into quick edits. Comment sections filled up fast, and the reactions were divided. Some people clowned it. All talk, no punches. Others warned that even moments like this can be used later if authorities decide to build a bigger case. In today's era, the viral footage doesn't disappear. It becomes digital evidence. Another detail people noticed? A Boogie wasn't seen throwing hands. He appeared to be watching from a distance while affiliates were in the mix. That image alone fueled conversation. Because perception matters. When cameras catch street energy involving artists with big platforms, it becomes bigger than a random scuffle. It becomes narrative, reputation, headlines, and in 2026, reputation spreads faster than sirens. This wasn't just two crews bumping into each other. This felt like borough pride stepping into the street. New York rap has always been territorial. The Bronx birthed hip-hop. Brooklyn built its own legends. Every generation carries that identity. When artists from different boroughs collaborate, it looks like unity. But underneath that unity, loyalties still exist. A Boogie represents Highbridge in the Bronx. Kyle Richh represents Brownsville in Brooklyn. Those neighborhoods have their own histories, their own alliances, their own long-running tensions that go beyond music. Even if the artists themselves don't have personal beef, the people around them might. Affiliations overlap, old conflicts linger, and in drill culture especially, you inherit your crew's energy whether you want to or not. That's why something small can turn big fast. One look, one word, one perceived sign of disrespect. In that environment, ego isn't optional. Respect is currency. And when two borough identities collide in public, nobody wants to be seen backing down. There's also a generational layer here. A Boogie came up during the blog era and built chart dominance. Richh came up in the TikTok drill era where virality equals power. One represents establishment New York rap, the other represents the new wave pushing through. When those energies meet outside a venue at 2 a.m. in freezing weather, the tension isn't just personal, it's symbolic. Bronx versus Brooklyn, old guard versus rising force. And sometimes, symbolism is enough to spark real-life movement. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about. In 2026, street moments don't just stay on the street, they live online. And once they live online, they can live in courtrooms. New York drill has already seen major legal crackdowns. Artists connected to crews have faced serious charges over the last few years. Federal prosecutors have shown they're willing to use lyrics, social media posts, art, and even music videos as supporting evidence in larger cases. So when footage surfaces showing affiliated members pushing, yelling, and confronting rivals outside a venue, people start thinking ahead. Even if nothing major happened that night, the optics matter. Prosecutors don't just look at one incident, they look for patterns, repeated altercations, public behavior, associations. That's why fans online immediately started mentioning Richh. Not because charges were filed, but because the climate around drill culture has changed. And here's the scary part. It doesn't take much. A viral clip can be revisited months later and reframed as part of a bigger narrative. What looked like just a scuffle can suddenly become evidence of ongoing crew activity. A Boogie has already dealt with past legal issues. Richh's drill environment is already under scrutiny. Add cameras and police lights to the mix, and the stakes shift. That's why both sides staying silent might not be random. It might be strategic, because sometimes the smartest move after a public clash is saying absolutely nothing at all. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody won that night. No one got seriously hurt, no one got arrested, but something still shifted. The collaboration that once looked like a bridge between Bronx melody and Brooklyn drill now feels uncertain. And in an industry where relationships equal opportunities, that matters. Moments like this show the pressure artists face. You build mainstream success, you land platinum records, you get BET nominations, you sell out shows, but you still carry the expectations of your neighborhood, your crew, your borough. And sometimes those expectations clash with the business side of music. A Boogie represents longevity. Richh represents momentum. Both are valuable. Both are talent. But when street energy enters the picture, it can overshadow everything else. The footage didn't show gunfire. It didn't show serious damage. It showed chaos and ego. And that might be the real takeaway. Because in today's era, reputation spreads faster than music. One viral moment can undo months of positive collaboration. Fans remember the fight more than they remember the song. The bigger question isn't who pushed who. It's whether New York rap can evolve past these flashpoints, whether artists can protect their brands while still honoring where they come from, whether collaboration can survive pride. Right now, silence hangs over both camps. And until someone speaks, that freezing January night outside Gramercy Theater will remain a reminder that in New York, peace is always temporary and energy always has a price. If you made it this far, you already know this story is bigger than one viral clip. So now I want to hear from you. Was this just a random crew clash? Or is there something deeper brewing between Bronx and Brooklyn? Drop your thoughts in the comments and keep it real. If you want more breakdowns like this, full timelines, real context, no lazy takes, hit that like button and subscribe. We're covering everything shaping the culture, and the next chapter in this story could drop any day. Stay locked in.